Ersan Bey ses kapalı galiba Adnan Paşa'm.
Evet, sesim açtım şimdi sesimi.
Okay, so I should be audible. Okay. No, I do apologize. Okay, dear General, the floor is yours. Well, now,
Kongremizin
okay,
yansıda görülen şekilde
as you
amacını
could see, this is the objective, this is the geopolitical value, and the situation, the current situation of the Islamic geography. These are the conventions which have been executed, and this is
kongrelerin amacı İslam ülkelerinin ortak bir irade
the
alması
objective.
için gerekli kurumlar ve bu
So,
kurumlara tabi olacak uygun
the importance and the target of International Assam Islamic Union Congress is to offer a model and structure. And the objective of this conference is
ortak savunma sistemi
to make sure that through a joint defense system, 9 federal regions affiliated with the confederation and the designated defense system principles and procedures of the defense system will be put forward. So, Islamic countries constitute 6% of the union, the member states of the
Kıyımlar, yıkımlar, kaoslar ve işgallerle yok olmanın eşiğine gelen İslam dünyası. Demokrasi yalanları ve laiklik adı altında entrikalar. Parçalanmış İslam dünyasını tekrar ayağa kaldırmak, İslam üzerindeki tefrikalara son vermek ve yeryüzünde yeniden tek hakim gücün İslam olması için Assam tarafından hazırlanmıştır. Orta Doğu paramparça. Filistin, İsrail işgali altında. Myanmar'da Arakan Müslümanlarına soykırım uygulanıyor. Çin Halk Cumhuriyeti Doğu Türkistan'a soykırım yapmaya devam ediyor. Afrika'da Müslümanlar sömürü altında yaşıyor. Müslümanları dünya üzerinden yok etmek isteyen Haçlı Batı dünyası ve Amerika Müslüman katliamların başını çekiyor. Dünyadaki barışın ve adaletin temsilcisi.
And the production is 40%. And because of its geopolitical situation, its common civilization values, and the historical accumulation in the Africa or Eurasia geography, it has an untapped superpower potential. Despite this situation, Islamic world, unfortunately, happens to be the land which is occupying United Nations at the highest level, which is interfered at the highest level, and there is always an ongoing terror and anarchy, and the resources have been utilized and exploited by the other parts of the world. There has been a super inequality in terms of the income distribution. Social, political, and economical instabilities are always in place. For a state, we need to have 5 central activities: internal affairs, foreign affairs, justice, defense, and the central organization of the defense. So when we look at the Islamic Union, the Assam stands. Or the Assam designation.
Kıyımlar, yıkımlar, kaoslar ve işgallerle yok olmanın eşiğine gelen İslam dünyası. Demokrasi yalanları ve laiklik
regulation and the legislation, and it has to be put forward as a model. That's why we started International Assam Islamic Community Convention Series. We have already talked about simply the operational areas of the states, When we look at the main themes of the International Assam Islamic Union Conventions, the first one was in 2017, the management and administration style and the determination of the organs and the legislation. And the second one was in 2018, which was on the identification of the procedures and the principles for the Islamic Union and for an economical cooperation. And then we hopefully are going to continue with the upcoming editions. The fifth one was joint foreign policy, the principles and the procedures. The sixth one was on the joint justice system and the designation of the principles and the procedures. And the seventh edition, hopefully, which is going to be taking place in 2023, on the identification for a joint safety and security. And the overall bottom line objective is to come up with a model based on the legislation of the institutions. And on the 23rd of November 2017, we had the title from past to future, the management styles, and we had people and academics and attendees from 28 countries and 31 presentations were presented. And when we look at the minutes of the meeting, in order to have a well-being and welfare for all the Muslim people, in order to make sure that there is sustainable safety and security and superiority of these people, in order to establish and maintain peace in the world, in order to also have a sustainable justice in the world, and for Islamic world to appear as a superpower, there should be the designation of Asia-Africa, in other words, Africa geography, and all the Islamic countries should be gathered together under the same structure. And for that purpose, the Islamic countries should start Islamic Union ministries in their own cabinets. And there should be also an assembly of the representatives from the Islamic countries. So first of all, this assembly, representatives assembly, is going to act as a crisis management organ in the Islamic countries. And the objective is to make sure that the Islamic countries are gathered under one will and work together. As a result of the first convention, we had a very exhaustive constitution which could act as a model. It was 33 pages and comprised of 181 articles in languages, Turkish, Arabic, and English. And the Islamic Countries Confederation Constitution model was published on the ASSAM website. So the designated model, according to the ASRICA Islamic States Union Constitution, the Confederation will act in 5 main activities, and the regional Islamic states federations are going to be operational and authorized in 6 activity fields, and the national states are authorized in 10 fields. And this is the aforetaught Assam is in the process of Islamic Union. So, as you could see, the designation of an Islamic Union is a must, and it is also a requirement of the age. And thanks to the model constitution, there has been a roadmap which is offered for the Islamic Union, and in 4 phases, the Islamic countries will gather together under a certain will. And the authority, the opportunities, the tools, the structure, the member count, constitution, the regulations and the bylaws have been identified. However, the representative assembly of the Islamic countries should be maintained on a sustainable basis, and following that, Islamic countries' confederate structure should be also put forward. And as the second step, we also have to make sure that the
bölgesel İslam ülkeleri
joint foreign policies as well as defense, security, and justice structures should be put forward, and it should be turned into a confederal structure.
coğrafi ve etnik yakınlıkları dikkate alınarak 9 ayrı coğrafyada gruplandırılmıştır. Orta Doğu, Orta Asya, Yakın Doğu, Güneydoğu Asya, Kuzey Afrika, Doğu Afrika,
Middle East, Central Asia, Near East, Southeastern Europe, North Africa, Eastern Africa, Northwestern Africa, and the other regions.
bölgesel İslam ülkeleri konfederasyonlarının
The confederations of regional Islamic countries, after they formed,
merkezi yönetimleri güçlendirilerek
their central structures should be empowered and they should be turned into federations. And each federation should be connected to the Islamic countries in a form of confederation. So, after following the hierarchical structure, as you see on the screen, in Africa there will be 61 Islamic countries, 28 in Europe, and the others in the rest in Asia and the other rest of the world. Without changing the national borders, there's going to be 9 regional federations and a confederal structure that would unite them. So Islamic countries would be put together under a joint will. So this is the task that we have ahead. It has its own parliament, cabinet, and 9 regional administrative structures. After this hierarchical formation, the central joint will is going to have an Islamic countries confederation parliament, and the regional formations would be represented in this parliament, and there would be executive organs both in central and regional terms, and there would be justice courts, and there would be joint strike forces. In the formation of the security, and there would be the 4th stage, by the way, and it would be in after the provision of the external security, the joint foreign policy should be set up, and after the economic cooperation, there should be a through the justice systems of the member countries, there should be independent judiciary that deals with human rights issues and criminal law. And after these formations, we can say that we have Islamic Union. At the end of the first Assam Islamic Unity Congress, we set up such a model. After the second Assam Islamic Union formation, it was in November 2018. At the end of the Congress, we had a declaration which stated that for Islamic countries to reach the universal levels of welfare and to gain economic independence, they should be able to use the technology of the time. They should promote manufacture. They would basically they should create an economy based on the exchange of products and services without interest, and they should protect both the labor and capital at the same time, and they should have their own currency system, and they should be able to protect themselves from the interventions of the global forces. For this to come about, we should do a joint market among the Islamic countries, and we should have commercial zones. We should have a common fund based on zakah, and we should be able to have criminal courts based on the Islamic Union, and we should have our own currency as well. with the joint market and joint production, we need to have an incentive fund of research and development. We should be able to have a joint investment fund, and we should have, again, a joint institution for research and development and innovation. For the Islamic countries' basic needs, including the food systems, we should have jointly functioning institutions, and we should also have financial institutions. And Africa Financial Exchange Center should also be set up. And we should also take precautions to promote the volume of the foreign trade. And we should have commercial agreements. And we should create unity in terms of language, religion, and history components. And we should basically form a strong political will. Let me just talk about the Third Congress, which bore important results. At the end of the Congress, for independence and sovereignty, there are preconditions, and basically the defense systems and the arms should be developed and manufactured by the countries themselves for a good defense system. In the cabinet of Africa, as you see, under the president, there would be a Ministry of Defense, one of 5 ministries, basically, and as you see on the screen, it would have 9 subdivisions. About the defense industry, the inventory of the products and identification of the needs, their manufacture and distributions, their renovations, their modernization, and their management should be done by the Ministry of Defense. Under the Ministry of Defense, there would be the presidencies of 9 regional administrations, and both land, naval, air, space, cyber, and electronic defense system products should be created, and the major contractors should be under the regional administration, and the major and subcontractors in their own region, they should be dealing with research and development, standardization, certification, accreditation, codification, and maintenance. This is what they are going to deal with. The regional Islamic federations and nation states should be given certain products of the defense means, and there would be educational infrastructure for that, which would involve vocational high schools, universities, and relevant sciences. So after the first 3 Congress, the 4th Congress is this one, and let me just talk about what we expect from this one. Our Congress is going to be based on the means and principles of the joint defense in Islamic countries. And this Congress is being broadcast online, and we have interpretation into English and Arabic. The summaries and declarations are going to be publications under ASSAM's website. And they would also be published in international magazines.
Davetli ve katılımcı olarak gönderilecek ve ASSAM web sitesinde yayınlanacak. Kongremizin amacı konfederasyon merkezinden yürütülecek
And the aim of this Congress is going to be about identification and imagination of the defense systems in these 9 federal regions and the nation states under these regions. In this Congress, we will evaluate the geopolitical situation of the African Islamic countries. We will talk about the global powers and their defense organizations and their activities in the Islamic countries, their military bases, their private military companies, and we're going to talk about the organizations that they use, and we will talk about the Islamic countries' defense organizations, their military capacity, and the inventories and the origin of the countries of these inventories. We're going to talk about the defense organizations of the Ottoman times, and we will talk about the defense alliances in the world.
Afrika Savunma Bakanlığı'nın organizasyonu,
The Ministry of Defense of Africa and its organization, and the Confederation, the defense organizations of the nation states, we are going to talk about these issues and evaluate and analyze them. And at the end of the Congress, we will basically try and create an ideal model for Africa. In the follow-up, the next year, we're going to talk about joint foreign policy, and then we'll talk about the joint justice system. And in 2023, we will talk about the joint security and safety. So at the end of the 2023, we will basically create a model that would bring Islamic countries under a joint will. Thank you very much for joining in this activity, and especially the universities. Thank you very much, and I wish a fruitful Congress. And I think we had some issues for technical, in terms of technical infrastructure, and I'm sorry for that, and I wish again a fruitful Congress.